What if your weird habits are actually signs of high intelligence? I know that sounds like one of those clickbaity internet lines, but stick with me. I've watched roommates, classmates, friends do the strangest little rituals and then solve problems like it's nothing. Picture a student in the common room late at night, wearing mismatched socks, humming and rearranging sticky notes like they're conducting a tiny orchestra. Cut to me, you're not alone, and it's not a flaw. That exact scene happened last semester, and I wondered if those quirks were actually secret superpowers. I'm going to walk through 10 habits that look odd at first, but when you peel back the layers, map to creativity, pattern recognition, and deep reflection. If at least one of these surprises you, hit like, and subscribe if you love psychology, intelligence insights, and brain facts. I used to think being up till 3 a.m. was just a classic case of procrastination, a failure of discipline. I'd beat myself up, convinced I was sabotaging my own success. But then I started noticing something. It wasn't random. There's a pattern here. And it turns out this pattern isn't about laziness, it's about biology. We live in a world built for early birds. The 9-to-5 schedule, the morning meetings, the entire structure of our society screams that productivity happens when the sun is up. But what if your brain didn't get the memo? Some brains, it turns out, are biologically wired to peak outside the conventional 9-to-5. This isn't a lifestyle choice, it's a chronotype. Your chronotype is your body's natural inclination to sleep and be active at certain times, and for a significant portion of the population, that time is late at night. Think about it. As the day winds down, the endless stream of emails, notifications, and social obligations finally goes silent. When the world quiets, your brain gets a chance to do something remarkable. It stops reacting and starts reflecting. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for focus and discipline, can sometimes be a little fatigued, which sounds bad, but it actually allows for more creative, non-linear thinking. Your brain starts to connect distant dots without the constant interruption of social noise. I knew a night owl in college, a philosophy major, who was a ghost during the day. You'd see him in a morning class, looking like he was physically in pain. He couldn't string a sentence together, but he had this ritual. He'd sleep late, hang out, and then around 11 p.m., he'd make a pot of tea. He couldn't even start his assignments until midnight. And then, like clockwork, he'd enter this flow state and draft 3 brilliant pages in 2 hours. His professors were always blown away. What he was doing wasn't procrastination. It was a profound alignment with his circadian focus. He had intuitively figured out his own personal prime time. That's not laziness. It's a form of self-awareness that many people spend their whole lives searching for. And the science backs this up. Studies on chronobiology show that while morning larks might be better at analytical, convergent thinking early in the day, night owls often excel at divergent creative problem-solving during their peak evening or night hours. Their brains are primed for insight when the rest of the world is winding down. So here's the takeaway. Stop fighting your biology. Instead, learn to work with it. The first step is to identify your peak hours. For a week, just observe. When do you feel most alert, most creative, most capable of deep work? Don't judge, just track. Once you find that 2 to 4 hour window, your job is to protect it fiercely. Schedule your most demanding cognitive work for when you're truly alive, not just awake. Now, the guardrail here is crucial. This isn't a license for chaotic, sleep-deprived binges. The key is to make it sustainable. Protect a few peak hours, but also protect your sleep. Keep consistent routines around your late-night sessions. A specific drink, a particular playlist, a ritual for winding down. This ensures your nights are productive and sustainable, not destructive. The goal is to be a strategic night owl, not a burnt-out one. Remember, reduced external stimuli allows for increased internal associations. Identify your 2 best hours and defend them like your life depends on it. Because when it comes to your best work, it just might. Okay, let's talk about the P word. Procrastination. It's the shadow that hangs over every student and creative. But here's a secret. Procrastination isn't one thing. It's a spectrum. On one end, you have destructive avoidance. the kind fueled by anxiety and fear, where you put things off until the panic is overwhelming. But on the other end, there's something else entirely: strategic delay. This is the art of letting ideas marinate. It's not about avoiding the work. It's about giving your brain the time and space it needs to do its best work. This is the power of incubation. When you consciously step away from a problem, your brain doesn't just shut off. Instead, your subconscious mind takes over. This is where the default mode network kicks in, a brain state active during rest, which is brilliant at connecting disparate ideas and generating novel solutions. Stepping away can trigger this subconscious synthesis, so when you return to the task, the answer feels like it just appears. This explains why some of the most effective students aren't the ones who study for 8 hours straight. They're the ones who understand the power of the burst. Research on memory and learning shows that some students retain information far more effectively after a timed, intense, late burst of focused effort, rather than a long, drawn-out slog. It's the pressure of the deadline combined with the power of a well-rested, incubated mind. So here's your action plan. First, learn to distinguish between avoidance and incubation. If you feel dread, it's probably avoidance. If you feel a calm sense of, "I'm letting this cook," it might be strategic. To harness this, set micro deadlines and use timed sprints. The Pomodoro technique is famous for a reason. Work in a 25-minute hyper-focused sprint, then take a 5-minute break to let your mind wander. This structure builds in incubation. When you feel that switch flip and your brain enters a state of hyper-focus, protect that window. Turn off your phone, close your tabs, and tell your roommates to leave you alone. This is where the magic happens. And here's the guardrail. If you realize you're just avoiding the task out of fear or overwhelm, the strategy needs to change. Don't just wait. Instead, break the task down until it's microscopic. Don't write the essay. Just open the document, then write one sentence. Reward every tiny completion to build momentum and short-circuit the anxiety loop. Your environment can be your greatest ally here. Specific environmental cues, the same lamp, the same mug of tea, the same timer, can act as powerful anchors, signaling to your brain that it's time to either focus or incubate. Use structure to harness the power of incubation. That's how you get the benefits of the last-minute burst without the terror of the panic all-nighter. Finally, let's talk about the desk. You know the stereotype of the brilliant but chaotic professor or artist, with papers piled so high you can barely see them? Well, sometimes it's absolutely true. And it's not just because they're disorganized. For certain types of minds, a messy desk isn't chaos. It's a rich, physical, three-dimensional search engine. This visible chaos can spark serendipitous connections that a clean, sterile environment simply can't. It's an externalization of your own mind's complex, interconnected web of thoughts. Think about it. On a messy desk, a research paper about neuroscience might be sitting next to a ticket stub from a concert. That random proximity can trigger an unexpected link in your brain. A new idea about rhythm and brainwaves, for example. A minimalist desk offers focus, but a cluttered desk offers inspiration. Your brain is a pattern-finding machine. When you surround it with diverse inputs, photos, academic slides, old grocery lists, doodles, you're giving it more raw material to work with. All of these seemingly unrelated items feed your brain's natural ability to find patterns and create meaning where none existed before. A famous study from the University of Minnesota found that people in a messy room generated more creative and interesting ideas than people in a tidy room. The researchers concluded that moderate clutter can encourage breaking from tradition and embracing flexible, unconventional thinking. But, and this is a big caveat, there's a tipping point. The mess has to serve you, not paralyze you. When the function of the space drops, when you can't find your keys or that one critical document, creativity suffers. The line is between generative chaos and stressful clutter. The action here is to create organized chaos. Keep your essential tools, your laptop, your main notebook, your favorite pen, in a clear, accessible zone. But allow the periphery to be a space for ideas to live and breathe. Keep ideas visible, but give them some structure. Use corkboards for inspiration, clear folders for different projects, and take snapshots of your desk when it feels particularly inspiring, creating a digital backup of the serendipity. A powerful technique is to designate zones. Have a messy brainstorm corner or a wall, but keep the surface where you actually type or write clean and functional. This gives you the best of both worlds, a space for inspiration and a space for execution. I have a friend, a graphic designer, whose desk looks like a recycling bin exploded. But in the middle of that chaos, she once found a crumpled up brochure with a weird color combination that became the entire basis for a client's award-winning branding. That's a real example of a cluttered desk leading directly to an unexpected insight. So the bottom line is this: don't let anyone shame you for your messy desk, but be honest with yourself. Is it helping you make connections, or is it just stressing you out? Keep the chaos useful. Functionality always comes first. So we've covered the night owl, the strategic delayer, and the messy desk creative. 3 habits often mistaken for flaws that can actually be signs of a powerful, unique mind at work. Which habit have you noticed in yourself so far? Let me know in the comments by dropping a 1, 2, or 3. I'm curious to see which one resonates most. Let's talk about talking to yourself. We've all seen it in movies. The lone genius muttering formulas, the detective piecing together clues out loud. In real life, though, it's often treated as a sign that someone's lost their marbles. But what if I told you that muttering to yourself isn't a sign of a breakdown, but a breakthrough? It's not just a quirk, it's a powerful cognitive tool. The act of externalizing your thoughts, giving them voice and sound, is one of the most effective ways to sharpen your mind. Psychologists call this self-directed speech, and the research is clear. It significantly boosts working memory, enhances focus, and supercharges your planning abilities. When you think silently, your thoughts can be a tangled, abstract mess. But when you speak them, you force your brain to structure them into coherent language. This process offloads some of the cognitive burden from your prefrontal cortex, freeing up mental bandwidth. You're essentially creating an external feedback loop. Verbalizing a problem literally turns abstract anxieties into concrete, actionable steps. You hear the gaps in your logic. You catch flawed assumptions. It's like having a consultant, except the consultant is you. If you feel self-conscious doing this in a shared space, you don't have to perform a monologue. Shy? Just whisper. Or even better, do what I do, record a voice memo. Walk around, talk to your phone like you're leaving a message for a friend. You get all the cognitive benefits without any of the weird looks. The simple act of hearing your own reasoning played back to you is incredibly clarifying. It helps you spot errors and refine your approach on the fly. Okay, next up, daydreaming. Or as your 3rd grade teacher probably called it, not paying attention. We're taught that a wandering mind is a lazy mind. But modern neuroscience tells a completely different story. That state of unfocused, free-floating thought isn't a bug. It's a feature of your brain's operating system. It's called the default mode network, or DMN, and it's the engine of your creativity. When you stop focusing on a specific task, your DMN fires up. This is your brain's synthesis and future planning mode. It gets to work connecting distant, unrelated ideas, running simulations of future scenarios, and consolidating memories. It's during these moments of spacing out that you might suddenly solve a problem you've been stuck on for days. That's called incubation. Your conscious mind steps away, and your brilliant subconscious takes over. The key is to let it happen, but also to be ready when the insight strikes. Here's the pro tip. Always carry a capture device, a small notebook, an app on your phone, anything. The moment you snap back from a daydream, that's your golden window. Write down whatever thought, image, or connection surfaced. Don't judge it, just capture it. These micro breaks for mind wandering are far more productive than forcing yourself to focus when your brain is hitting a wall. But a word of caution. If your mind wandering consistently drifts into anxious, repetitive loops about the past or future, that's not creative incubation, that's rumination. If that's the case, gently redirect your thoughts with goal-oriented visualization. Instead of worrying about a presentation, visualize yourself delivering it successfully. Habit number 6 might make the minimalists in the audience uncomfortable. I'm talking about collecting. Not high-end art, but scraps. Ticket stubs, interesting packaging, magazine clippings, old letters. Keeping boxes of what looks like junk isn't a sign of hoarding. It's a sophisticated system of external memory. It's about creating a physical library of inspiration. Our brains are wired for sensory input. A digital photo of a concert ticket doesn't carry the same weight as the physical object. The specific way it's faded, the crease where you folded it into your pocket. These physical cues act as powerful triggers for memory and emotion. Sifting through these artifacts allows your brain to engage in tactile, spatial pattern recognition that you'd completely miss inside your own head or on a screen. You're not just remembering, you're re-experiencing. And very often, these fragments from the past hold the keys to unlocking problems in the present. A color combination on an old postcard might solve a design problem. A phrase from a letter might inspire a piece of writing. The trick is to organize it lightly. Don't create a complex Dewey Decimal System. Just use simple two-word labels on your boxes. Blue tones, bold fonts, clever copy. Keep it compact. The goal isn't to archive your life, but to build a searchable sensory database. For a hybrid approach, digitize the text-based items for searchability, but keep the truly unique sensory items for those moments when you need a real creative spark. Finally, let's head to the dinner table. Are you a picky eater? Someone who can't stand it when different foods touch? Or maybe you're the opposite. Someone who creates bizarre combinations, like dipping fries in a milkshake. This isn't just a food quirk. An intense focus on texture, taste, and sensory detail can be a sign of a highly refined sensory resolution. You're not being difficult. Your brain is processing sensory information at a much higher fidelity than most people. You notice things others don't. Think about it. The same neurological skill that allows you to detect the subtle difference between two brands of dark chocolate is what allows a data scientist to spot a tiny inconsistency in a massive data set. It's the same ability that helps a sound engineer notice a minuscule audio flaw, or a UX tester feel that an app's animation is 50 milliseconds too slow. It's a superpower for any field that requires precision and quality control. So instead of being embarrassed by it, channel it. Your high-resolution sensory perception is perfect for tasks like editing code, proofreading documents, lab observation, or user experience testing. You are the ultimate quality assurance expert. Of course, if this trait is driven by severe anxiety or leads to nutritional issues, it's important to be gentle with yourself and perhaps seek support through mindful exposure to new textures. But for many, it's simply a trait. The key, as with all these habits, is transparency. Explaining to your friends or family, "Hey, it's not that I don't like your cooking, I just have a thing about textures," can prevent a lot of friction. So let's recap this whirlwind tour. Self-talk isn't crazy, it's cognitive coaching. Daydreaming isn't laziness, it's creative synthesis. Collecting scraps isn't hoarding, it's building a sensory library. And sensory precision with food isn't pickiness, it's a sign of a high-resolution mind. These aren't weird habits to be ashamed of. They are legitimate, powerful tools for thinking, creating, and problem-solving. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with the habit from this section that surprised you the most. Are you a self-talker, a daydreamer, a collector, or a sensory specialist? Let's own these quirks together. And if you love digging into the psychology behind how our minds work, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to save this video and share it with that one friend you have who is, a little weird but brilliant. They'll thank you for it. We're not done yet. Coming up next, we're diving into the social side of intelligence, why smart people might need more alone time, the hidden power of sarcasm, and the surprising genius behind the fidget factor. Ready? Let's keep decoding. All right, let's dive into our final trio of habits, starting with number 8, a preference for solitude. Now, this isn't about being a recluse or hating people, far from it. For many highly intelligent individuals, choosing solitude or very small, intimate hangouts is a non-negotiable act of strategic energy management. Think of your brain like a high-performance computer. Running complex programs, like deep analysis, creative synthesis, or just processing the fire hose of information from a full day of classes, requires immense processing power. Constant social interaction, with its endless stream of micro-decisions, emotional reads, and conversational demands, is like running dozens of background apps. It fragments your attention and drains your cognitive battery. Deep thinking, the kind that leads to breakthrough insights, simply cannot happen amidst 1,000 superficial interruptions. It requires uninterrupted stretches where your brain can quiet the external noise and listen to its own internal connections firing. This is when your default mode network, or DMN, gets to work, consolidating memories, simulating future scenarios, and making those surprising leaps of logic that we call creativity. So when a smart friend turns down a big party for a quiet night in, it's not a personal rejection. It's not rejection. It's protecting bandwidth. They're preserving their mental resources for the tasks that matter most, and to be more present for the interactions they choose. The guardrail here is crucial. This becomes a problem when it morphs into total social withdrawal, or is driven by anxiety. Healthy solitude is a choice for focus. Unhealthy isolation is a retreat from fear. So the takeaway? If this is you, communicate your needs. Frame it as a need for recharge, not a rejection of friendship. And then, proactively offer alternatives that honor both your need for depth and your connection to them. Suggest weekly walks, dedicated one-on-one study sessions, or a quiet coffee. The goal is to balance a few meaningful, high-quality connections each week, rather than spreading yourself thin across many superficial ones. It's about quality over quantity. Next, habit number 9, a tendency towards sarcasm, irony, and dark humor. This one is often misunderstood as simple negativity or cynicism, but it can be a powerful signal of a mind that operates at an incredibly high speed. It's a sign of fast abstraction. Think about what it takes to land a genuinely good sarcastic joke. First, you need sharp pattern recognition to understand the expected conventional response in a given situation. Then, you need the cognitive flexibility to instantly flip that expectation on its head. Finally, you need impeccable timing and a keen sense of social norms to deliver the line in a way that lands as funny rather than just mean. It's a complex cognitive dance. These minds link concepts quickly and play with multiple layers of meaning simultaneously. It's not just cynicism, it's a form of intellectual play. I remember a friend in a literature class who, after a dense lecture on postmodernism, deadpanned, "So the author is basically subtweeting all of Western philosophy?" The professor just stared for a second, then burst out laughing. It was a brilliant, funny, and shockingly accurate abstraction of a very complex idea. Research backs this up, showing that both creating and understanding sarcasm requires a more sophisticated theory of mind, the ability to grasp the mental states of others. That's why wit often pairs with deep emotional insight. The person who can make you laugh in a dark moment often understands your pain better than anyone. The guardrail, of course, is context. Sarcasm used as a constant defense mechanism or to belittle others is toxic. The takeaway is simple. As always, read the room. Use your powers for good, to build rapport, to de-stress a situation, or to offer a clever new perspective, not to tear people down. Finally, habit number 10. Are you a constant fidgeter, a pen clicker, a leg jiggler, a doodler in the margins? This isn't necessarily a sign of a wandering mind. In fact, for many, it's a clever subconscious strategy to stabilize attention. Here's the science. Your brain requires a certain level of arousal to stay alert and focused. If a task is too boring or understimulating, your arousal level can drop too low, and your mind starts to drift. This light, repetitive motor activity, fidgeting, provides just enough sensory input to keep your brain in that optimal zone of alertness. It's a self-regulation technique. This physical action supports your working memory and executive functions, preventing you from zoning out completely during a long lecture or a tedious reading assignment. It's your brain's way of saying, "Hey, I need a little more stimulation to stay on task here." The guardrail is obvious. When your fidgeting becomes distracting to yourself or others. A loud, repetitive pen click in a silent library is a no-go. The practical takeaway is to channel this need constructively. Choose unobtrusive fidgets. A stress ball you can squeeze under the desk, a spinner ring, or even just tensing and relaxing your leg muscles. And if you're in a setting where it might bother someone, set boundaries by explaining, "Hey, I focus better when I can move a bit, I'll try to keep it quiet." You can also build in deliberate micro-movement breaks. Every 25 minutes, stand up, stretch, walk around the room for 60 seconds. These tiny resets keep your cognition fresh and your body regulated, allowing you to return to the task with renewed focus. So let's do a quick recap of this section. Solitude isn't rejection. It's how deep thinkers protect their bandwidth. Wit isn't just cynicism, it's a sign of abstract speed and mental flexibility. And fidgeting isn't just distraction, it's a tool for self-regulating focus. Now let's put it all together. Across this entire series, we've decoded 10 seemingly weird habits. Remember? 1. The night owl, who aligns with their natural rhythm. 2. Strategic delay, which uses incubation for better ideas. 3. The messy desk, which externalizes memory. 4. Self-talk, which brings clarity. And 5. Daydreaming, which is the engine of synthesis. Then we covered 6. Collecting, which hones pattern recognition. 7. High sensory sensitivity, which captures crucial detail. 8. Solitude, which enables depth. 9. Sarcasm, which demonstrates abstraction. And 10. Fidgeting, which is all about regulation. Each one is a clue, a signpost pointing to a powerful cognitive strength hiding in plain sight. So, I have to ask, did any of these 10 habits surprise you? Did one make you go, "Wait, that's me"? If at least one habit resonated, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. And then, drop your most relatable habit number in the comments below. I want to see which ones hit home the most. And if you enjoy untangling the psychology behind how our minds work, and you want more insights into intelligence, learning, and the brain, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Then save this video and share it with that one friend you have, you know the one, who you've always described as weird but brilliant. They'll get it. Oh, and don't forget to turn on notifications because you won't want to miss our upcoming videos packed with more mind-blowing psychology facts. Because next up, we're flipping the script. We're going to talk about the common habits that actively sabotage your focus and give you the science-backed fixes to reclaim your attention. The biggest takeaway from all of this should be a sense of relief. You're not broken, you're not weird, you're not doing it wrong. You're just learning the unique instruction manual for how your specific brain is built to win. So, let's land this with a quick action plan to put these insights to work today. 1. Identify your 2 peak hours and protect them. 2. Set one micro deadline and a 25-minute sprint. 3. Externalize, speak steps aloud or record a quick memo. 4. Keep ideas visible, essentials labeled. 5. Capture one idea from a mind wander today. If you felt seen, like this video. Subscribe for more psychology and brain insights, new drops weekly. Save it and share it with that weird but smart friend. Turn on notifications so you never miss a mind-blowing fact. Pinned comment you can copy. I thought X was my flaw. Turns out it's my edge. Habit, team, check in.